Hello, let's make a noise. Welcome to another video in my incredibly intermittent Let's Make a Noise series. Today we're going to be playing with Zebra, Dark Zebra to be precise. Now I'm about to release a sound set called ZebraHZ 2. And one of the things I've been doing in that sound set that I've been having a lot of fun with, and I think you'll enjoy seeing the sort of behind the scenes look at too, is making breakbeats. Now, who doesn't love a breakbeat? I love a breakbeat. If you don't like a breakbeat, I pity you. I pity you, I really do. No, it's all right, but you probably won't enjoy this video. Anyway, we're going to go through using multi-stage envelope generators and noise oscillators and comb filters and all sorts of groovy and interesting stuff to give us a really cool breakbeat loop in Zebra. So come on then, let's have a play, shall we? So we start off in this channel. We're gonna make a kick in this channel, and we've got an oscillator to start off our kick. Now what we want here, we want a sine wave, and I'm just going to pick out this oscillator that I have made, which is kind of my kick making oscillator basically. So at the moment it sounds a little bit silly. That's not a kick, is it? And the main reason for this is that we haven't designed this envelope. So envelope 2 here is controlling the pitch envelope on our sine wave oscillator. So first of all, we want to bring the sustain all the way down, and then it sounds like this. So we've got a bit more of that kicky punch going on, but we want it tighter. Let's get that thud. Sounds rather nice. Now we can fiddle with the envelope. That's good. I like that. Do you like that? I like that. Okay, so that's our kick sound. Now, that's how we do it if we're using that envelope. What? We're not going to use that envelope? No. We're going to use a multi-stage envelope here. So we want to select it to set it to mono so it runs through our loop, and we're going to create a 16-bar loop. So make sure when you're doing a pattern that you select this. That means your anchor points won't move around when you move these ones. So if I move this, that one doesn't move. However, if you select this one, if I move this, well, it pushes it about. That's stupid. I'm not sure what the uses are of that one, actually. I've never used it, but there we go. So we'll just remove you, and, well, we'll start here. We'll start that. That's our loop start. That's our loop end, and we're going to do some kicks. So we are going to try and remember it's Alt-click, or whatever the Mac equivalent of Alt is. I don't know. Control? No. Apple? Maybe. I'm not a Mac user. So now we've got more of a kick shape. Now this is going to be for our envelope, so we're going to change this to MSG1, and now we are running. So let's see. So that's a bit tight. Okay, that's got more of the thump we want. I like that thump. Okay, so now we get to make more kicks. Now I'm going to just put some standard sort of breakbeaty position kicks. So we're going to do it on the 4th beat as well. We want a very similar shape. And I'm going to do one on the 11th beat as well. Okay, so now we have okay, so that's our kick. That's our basic kick that we put together. So what I think we'll do now is we'll do a basic snare. So we'll start with noise. I'm going to use pink noise because it has a bit more chunkiness amount. I'm going to make it stereo because we want it to have a bit of width. We've got that width at the moment. We'll see how that works. But what we're going to do here with our snare is we're going to control the volume. And the volume is going to be controlled by multi-stage envelope 2. So we'll select it here. Okay, and we want 16ths and we want mono, so it works alongside our other one. Let me stick you all the way over there onto the last beat. Loop end, loop start. Now, typically we're going to have snares on every the middle beats, aren't we? So I don't know the correct terminology. It's useful to have someone who doesn't know the correct terminology doing this, because then you don't feel so stupid when you don't know it either. Isn't that fun? That's how I'm explaining it away. So now we put in 2 crunchy open sort of snare shapes there. Let's see what that sounds like. Well, it doesn't sound like anything because we haven't turned this up. Schoolboy error. Okay, now we have turned it up. What does it sound like? Okay, we've got the beginnings of our snare sound. Do we want to tighten it a bit? Nice. So, very simply starting with a basic kick and a snare using the multi-stage generator, multi-stage envelope generators. Simple enough. Should we add some hats? Sure, why not? We've got another noise oscillator to do this with. We're going to go with white noise here. And again, we're going to be controlling the volume with our envelope here. So make sure that's selected and whiz along here. And then all we have to do is just come up with a bit of a pattern. So I'm just going to put in I'm going to start off with a kind of action pattern thing here. Every 3 notes. And then we'll have this one just a little bit lower at the end. So let's see what that sounds like. I've done it again, haven't I? I haven't even selected it this time. Come on. Oh, let's see what happened there. We haven't selected our correct loop point. Now this is going out, because this is still selected as our start point, it's actually creating quite a nice change up. And so that would come back round every 4 bars or so to work. But we're going to, for now, just do it properly and have that. Now, what I'm also going to add in here is on every odd beat, I'm going to add in a bit, an extra hit, just so we've got the pace of the rhythm upped a little. So at the moment, so that's what we've got. Now it's a bit open, so I'm going to tighten them all, and you can do that by just selecting them with the mouse and dragging them down. So we just tighten these all up a bit. And also, I think it's a bit heavy, isn't it? So we can take out a bit of the top end, a little bit, but take a lot of the bottom end out. So if you're feeling incredibly lazy, there you go, you've got a breakbeat. Woohoo, we're done. Walk away. But we're not going to be lazy. Not this time. So now we just want to do a bit of fine tuning. So I'm just going to mute the snare and the hats for a bit, and we're going to come back to our lovely kick. Let's get the comb filters out. So we'll start with our first one. And over here, we want to select dissonant, because that's where we get our percussive tones. Now, if we weren't doing a loop, pre-fill would be where we get our nice percussive tones. But that will only trigger at the beginning every time you strike a key, so that's not any use to us here. So we want to open up the input. We want to get some feedback going. And we also want to come down here and get some of that dry signal coming through, lots of it, because the kick is important. So at the moment, it's ringing a bit. So it's the damp selection here that's going to do the magic. So now we're selecting our tone. Now, because it's drum, what I would actually suggest doing is taking the key scale down, even, to 0, and then you're not going to get a different key and different sound across all the keys. That's the only reason I would do that. But there are other ways we can change this, so we can tune it down. So we're getting a little bit more of a sort of 808 kick vibe going on there. Look at my inaccurate mouse. Never going to get on 12. All right, we'll forget that. And now it add a bit more tone there. Now we can also shape the tone over here. Okay, I like the sound of that for our kick. So we'll do some more work on the kick here. Let's go for the EQ. We want to get some low end thump in there. So let's change the steepness of that. Let's really get some. And we don't need any top end on this. Now we could use this to bring out some more of that tone. So we've got a little sort of woody knock there. So add a little bit of that in. So far, so good, right? Okay, I'm fine with that. Let's move on to our snare and let's do some tone shaping here with the comb as well. So same thing, we're going to go for the dissonant noise and feedback. So let's open this up so we can see it. Right, and obviously we need some of that dry signal coming through. Input. Okay, so that just sounds like a grandfather clock. First of all, we'll just bring this back to 0 again. Okay, so now we've got a bit more of that sort of ringing, metallic, snarey clang. Get it bassier there. Negative feedback, but with positive feedback we've got this. I'm quite happy with that. But let's just check out how it tunes up against the kick that we've made. Right, maybe we want to go back into the kick and do something here. Wrong one. This one. What we can do here, actually that might be quite fun. So we've got tune here. Let's use our kick envelope on that pitch as well and tighten that up. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay, we're liking that. Snare sounding nice too. Now if we bring this back up, get a bit of that snap from the snare back in, and maybe we can find a bit of snare ring that we like. That's picking out too much of the noise. Okay, that's a bit better. Narrow it a bit. Okay. I'm not against that. We'll open the release a little bit up because that finished quite quickly. Okay. Now I want a little bit of reverb in there for the snare, but obviously we don't want too much because we've got the kick on that channel as well. So let's see what it sounds like initially. Okay, we've got a bit of room there, that works. A little bit of pre-delay, let's get a slap back. Darken the tone slightly. Okay, I like that. Right, let's come back to our hats. And what do we have here? Right. So let's do something with the comb here to get some vibe into that hat as well. Again, we could go with a dissonant and noise shape. And let's just have a listen. Okay, so that's too much. Bring that down. Right, so we're only getting the comb sound here, so let's bring the hat sound in. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to use envelope 3 here to control the volume as well, because I want a bit of change in how much of that cone is coming through. So the harder you hit, the more you hear of that tone. There we go, so we've got that. Let's turn it all the way up for start. Okay. I'm not against that. Okay, now we're going to send this to bus 1. I'll just turn that up. Because I want to EQ it differently to the kick and the snare. So bring up some highs, take out all the lows. Let's see if we've got anything. Maybe just there a little bit. But that sounded a bit horrible up there, so take a bit of that out. Okay, now very important here, I want lots of delays on these hats to add a bit more movement. Stereo delay is fine, we'll just filter a little high end and low end out of it. I want to go fast, so we'll have 8s and 8 dotteds to give us a bit of speed. Okay, so that's now rattling really nicely. We can have a bit of reverb, not that much. That's all right. That gives it a bit of life. I think we'll have a filter in here. Let's go with a high pass filter to get a bit more of that low end out. Actually, what I might do is, again, I'm going to use the envelope to just have a little bit more lower frequencies on the firmer strikes of the hi-hat. That gives us a bit of flavour. Okay, so let's bring the other sounds back in. So far, so good, right? I don't mind that. So what else we'll do here is we'll bring in some compression. I like the smooth compressor, so if we just take out the hats again. Bit of a tight release. Crank up the input, output down a bit. I'm fine with the attack there. Okay, but we're going to bring the threshold down. This is what I think gives a nice compressed feel to your breakbeat. We'll compensate with a bit more compression. So we take it off. Feels a bit more controlled, which I like, and pumps a little bit. And similarly with the hi-hats, if we do this, tighten them up, and add a bit of input, take out a bit of output, add in some compression. Not too much to change the threshold here. We just want it to zing a bit. Cool, let's put that all together. I think that really pops. It's quite fun. So we can also use some filters here just to control our sound a bit more. So we get back into the kick, and this filter, what's going to be, we want sort of a dull filter for the kick. So I quite like the old drive for that sort of thing. So we're not going to feel a lot missing from it, but we'll add in some drive, I think. And that gives us a bit of that natural tone. Nice bit of punch, that, I think. Take that off. Makes it a bit less drum machiney. Cool, and how about the snare? What should we do with the filter on the snare? Now all round we'll add in a bit more high end. But what I'm going to go for is actually the mid, because I want to drive those mids and I want to take a bit of the low end out that's coming through on the EQ here. That far. What we could experiment with here is actually going back to the snare envelope again. That's too snappy, isn't it? So that's no good to us. Okay, I don't think the mid dry is working for me. How about the vintage? At this point, it's really just a bit of colour that you're adding. So we're just going for a bit of drive. Actually, I will stick in with me last. I will actually just take a little bit off the bottom end here with another high pass one. Not too much, just a little, so it's not got too much weight in the bottom end. Let's see if that's improved anything. breakbeat in ZebraHZ. Isn't that cool? We've gone from nothing to... Now there are other things we can do. We can add some distortion for some more colouring. If we want to distort the kick a bit, let's see what we can do with this. We'll just use the very simplest. We'll add some lows. So you could add that in if you want to. I don't think it's really working there, to be honest. One other fun thing we can do is we can create another channel to push some of our other a slightly different vibe into. So I'm going to take the snare from the input and the hats from the side change into this mix. And if I just mute these, so we can now start doing some interesting things here. You could whack in a ring modulator. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? Hang on. So we've got that weird ring modulated crunch there. Not working for me. How about sideband? Let's play with some frequencies, shall we? Weird and splashy. There's some extra tones in there. Slightly glitchy vibe now. How does that sound with the whole thing? So the compression takes a bit of the edge off it, and now you've got just a sort of ring going on there. So that's one other thing you could do. What other options have we got here? We could pass it through an FM synth. So we could add a bit of extra color here. So for example, we could just tinker with the tuning and maybe use this on the snare. Let's see what that sounds like. It's giving us a punch, a low punch there. So let's do the volume as well, and then we don't have it playing all the time. Bring in some noise through the FM modulation. Frequency modulation. That makes sense. So we've got almost tom sound going on now. Right, let's blend that in. Turn it down a little bit. Always that kick compression coming in and going boom. I quite like that. There we go. So yeah, so there's lots of fun to be had, and using the multiple, you've got 4 channels of oscillators and stuff, and you've got, well, up to 8 envelopes if you want them. You can make some fun stuff. I mean, I've kept that reasonably simple. You can get much more complicated than that, that's for show. But I just thought I'd give a little insight into how much fun you can have making breakbeats with ZebraHZ. So I hope you enjoyed that little video and learned some good stuff, including how to make nice percussive sounds, for example. And I'll be back with some more Let's Make a Noise videos soon. So ta-ta for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.